Welcome from Sequoia National Park. It's been a long driving day. It took about 4.5 hours to get here, but I've made it just in time to see the sunset. Join me tomorrow. For now, this is my good night. Take care. A very good morning to you all. Sorry if I still seem a little bit tired. I just woke up. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, but I'm here for sunrise, Sequoia National Park. So right now I am on the Moro Rock climbing the stairs. So these stairs until 1931 were all wooden, but then they were blended into like cement to be a little bit more safer. They lead to the top of the rock, which I will show you guys. Down there are the switchbacks road which I took to get here. You can see behind me back there, that's the giant forest with the giant sequoias. I was driving in last night and man, I've not seen trees that big and thick. So I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like. However, what I did want to point out is Sequoia did not used to encompass all of these mountains before 1926. It only covered the area where the trees are. But then Congress decided to add all these mountains to its protection. So not a bad view, huh? To wake up in the morning. A few more steps. And we're here. A 360 panorama of the whole Sequoia National Park. And I am in the giant forest surrounded by the giant sequoias. But take a look at this. A fallen sequoia. Look how big the roots are. Let me guys show you for perspective. It is giant. So what I've learned is if you see burns on a sequoia, it's because they grow their thick barks to protect them from forest fires. Fires are actually very helpful to forests because not only do they clear debris, they also fertilize the soil, and the fire helps spread the seeds so the forest can continue to grow. What an epic start to this day. I believe it can get even more epic and even more exciting. So come with me on today's journey exploring the Sequoia National Park. Currently by the row of trees called the Parker Group. It gets its name from the officer Parker and his 8 members of the US cavalry who protected this forest before it became a national park at the turn of the 19th century. Be a tree hugger. I've always dreamed of seeing these trees. Among the giants. Beautiful. I think you guys will recognize the next landmark that I'm gonna show you guys. You guys might recognize the tunnel log, one of the most prominent features here in Sequoia Park. So how did this tunnel come about? Well, the Civilian Conservation Corps, mostly comprised of young unemployed men, suggested to cut into this tree once it fell on the road during the Great Depression. This was one of their biggest projects that they worked on. So now cars can come through, but also a road nearby was made. So for the cars that are too tall, this is about 8 feet tall at its highest point, can pass through. Shall we continue on? Are you guys enjoying this journey? I sure am. Coming at you from the Chrysanthemum Meadows, I decided to check this place out. It was completely unplanned for, and I am deciding to do the Eagle View Trail. We'll see what that looks like. As the name suggests, I can only hope for the best. Hiking the High Sierra Trail, which is very exciting, which ultimately leads you to Mount Whitney. Without further ado, let's get going. I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about this trail. So John White, the superintendent of national parks in 1919 to 1923, he envisioned a road through the Sierras. As you may know, Sierras is a very rugged, mountainous landscape, but he wanted a trail to get to the other side, and he didn't want to build vehicle roads to limit the emission and impact on the environment. So he instructed his engineers to develop a road that left as little impact on the environment. Down there, maybe you can see a little bit of the Chrysanthemum Meadows. So that's a picnic area. You can go and hang out with your family. This trail actually continues on for another 60 miles. You can obtain a wilderness permit if you plan on hiking overnight. I'm not exactly sure if you need to just self-register or if you need to talk to a ranger. However, this trail is joined by the Pacific Crest Trail, one of the most famous trails here on the West Coast that stretches along the whole coast from Washington down to California. Right now I am headed to the Eagle Point to see what kind of views we're gonna get from there. Can you guys see Moro Rock over there? That's where I actually watched the sunrise from and drove a little bit, and now I'm enjoying these beautiful views. Just a short hike from the parking lot, we have the Eagle View. Sure enough, it's a view. Do you see the black spots on the trunks of the sequoias? That's the fire damage I've been talking about. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sequoias are known to grow thick tree trunks to protect themselves from fire damage. Where one tree falls, another one grows. These here are known as the chimney trees. As you can see, one of them right in front of me, the shorter one, is completely burned down, turned almost into charcoal. But the other ones are still alive. If you do a little bit of wandering here in Sequoia National Park, you'll find these hidden gems. I'm standing now in front of the Thorpe's Log. It's a cabin made inside a fallen sequoia tree trunk. Very cool. Even has its own chimney. It's pretty cool. I would live here if it wasn't for all the bugs. Just entered the Congress Trail, which is a 2-mile loop taking you around different sequoia trees, which have been named after presidents. So I'm very eager to check them out. Very peaceful here, very beautiful. And let's continue the journey. Watch your head, another tunnel. Continuing on the Congress Trail, this big tree right here, that's the McKinley tree. You can see it's got a very beautiful big tree top. As some sequoias only grow tall, but they're very bare up top. This area here is known as the house. This group of trees here is known as the Senate, which is another reference to the United States of America's judicial system. After we've walked through the House and past the Senate, one final guy remains in charge. And that over here is the president. You might be asking yourself, but the president is the most important person in the country. Yes, however, I'm currently in Sequoia National Park, and the president is just a guest. He's the guest in the house of the chief of Sequoia. I've just introduced you to all the important residents of the giant forest. I introduced you guys to the house, to the McKinley tree, to the Senate, to the president, and most importantly, to the chief himself. So as I'm walking on the Congress chair, I found this one giant sequoia tree with a big fire damage. What's interesting is it gives you a glimpse inside to what the tree looks like. You can easily walk in here. This was a great hike. I recommend the Congress Trail for anybody who comes to the Sequoia National Park. And I am here in the Grant Grove Village. This area used to be a national park all on its own until 1890, until it was included in the Kings Canyon National Park, and now it's just all part of one park. One of the 3 largest sequoias actually grows here, which is the Grant Grove tree sequoia, so which I'm about to show you. So follow me. I'm standing in front of General Grant sequoia tree. It is the world's widest known sequoia tree at 40 feet in diameter. It measures 177 feet around, and it's only 1,500 years old, so it's definitely not the oldest tree. The last part of this short Grant Grove loop is the Gamlin log cabin. So Israel Gamlin in 1800s came here, and he lived here for 2 summers while raising cattle. Afterwards, the US cavalry who patrolled the area to protect the national park, you slept here and also stored hay in this place. Lastly, it was also the home of the first park ranger, Lewis Davis. Lots of history through this house, and I think with that, I'm gonna end today's adventures. I hope you guys join me tomorrow for Kings Canyon hikes. Good night, guys.